Hi, and welcome to Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. A little bit about questions and answers and getting more information out in the world, what it means, these classes of Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. I've facilitated last year these classes and have been working with animals and horses for quite a while. And when I started facilitating these classes, very new things showed up for me, getting totally new awareness about animals, about horses, about people, what we can receive, what contribution horses, specifically horses now, what contribution horses can be to people. And do you require to know anything about horses? Do you require to be a rider? Do you require to be working with horses? Those questions I get a lot. And it's a big no. You don't have to at all know anything about horses to come to a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class. And you can be. I've had everything from people breeding horses to horse riding teachers to just riders. And every person that desires any kind of change contribution and or just willing to explore what it can be like to be with a horse that is willing to contribute to you, or you're willing to contribute to the horse. This is always simultaneous contribution. What shows up there has been amazing for me personally, to experience, to see. And that's one of the things I really, really, really love with these classes is the contribution. And it's about awareness. It's about gaining awareness, willing to allow everything to contribute to your life, not specific only one or two things, like everything. And that's one of the things we do a lot in the classes. So I don't know if you guys want to do you have any questions directly you want to ask about the classes or about the horse or about Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider, like the energy, the points of views about it? What's up for you guys? Anything I can contribute to your life at the moment? People are very quiet here. You guys are funny.
Hello. Hello.
Hey!
Yeah, Sophie speaking. So, I booked your course in August in Austria. So I'm a rider since I have 6 years. Yeah. So, 40 years or more I'm riding, and I have my own horse since 20 years. I bought him with 2.5 years, and now he's 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, we have a really very close relationship. Yeah, but I think that he wants to tell me something, and sometimes it seems that it's easier to understand it's these black things on my head if I have my own problems. Yeah, so I was with a bar, access course for Talk to the Animal.
Yeah.
And then this was really cute. So a lot of things came out regarding questions about leadership and things. But always when I do it on my own questions, it seems much more solid and difficult to understand what these questions can create for me.
So what would you like?
To have less doubt, or to a week ago, for example, yeah, I went to the stable and a girl said, "Oh, I have to saddle my horse. Yeah, a horse is missing." And I asked her, "But which one?" And she said, "This, and this other one." And I said, "But it's in his box." And she said, "No, I had a look." And so, but I knew that it was in the box.
Yeah.
It was lying. So if you had only a quick look, you weren't able to see it. But I had the energy, and I really knew that it was inside there, that there were no problem here with this horse. Yeah. But and that sometimes seems so natural. And then if I have my own things, I can't see, or I don't allow me to see and feel them. And I think that my horse is trying to tell me this since 20 years, and he's crying loud and I didn't hear.
Or he has been very happy with you. You don't know. Like there's everything. So, but we often have more agendas with our own things than with others.
Mm.
So if we didn't have a point of view and we didn't have any agendas, information can just flow.
Okay.
So if I talk to other animals, I don't have a specific point of view or a specific thing I want to create with them. It's really just like, hey, hi. Of course, when my dog talks to me, now we have been working a lot actively, so we're quite clear, but there's some moments where it's not clear. And then I add another person, and when I have another conversation with somebody else with her, it becomes much clearer.
But what makes it clearer?
The awareness from somebody else, and that I'm not stuck in my points of views of what should be.
Okay, then I have a kind of interesting point of view.
No, but we often have, we want our horse or animal to be happy. We want this, and this. Everything we desire becomes also invested in a something. We're vested in something, so we want something. That also becomes this tunnel. So we want to see this, and we want the answer for this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is nothing wrong. It's just like, oh, it's a practice as well. So if I don't have a point of view and I'm willing to ask the horse, hey, can you show me this information? When you get a sense the horse wants to tell you something and you're not getting it, one of the things you can tell the horse, hey, can you give me this information in another way that is simpler or easier for me to receive?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to be willing to be open that it can arrive with somebody else talking to my horse, or somebody else just says something and they're like, oh, that's the information. So it can arrive in any way. It's not direct communication always.
Okay.
And then I personally use the clearing statement a lot, and I pot and pock every expectation, point of view, judgment, way I have had communication with my animal. So I allow everything else to show up, like everything to show up. So if I have been communicating in a certain way with one animal and that worked, I really put and pock myself so I don't expect something similar or the way it was yesterday with my animal. Because I want to show up like really with no expectations. And this is one of the toughest part, that we do usually have expectations and desires, and it worked this way, so it must be this way that works. No, it was yesterday. Great. And this is, if I look at animal communication, the normal way, or most people do, they have certain ways of doing it. And what I have done with my animals is, for example, ask them to show me how it works. I ask them to show me how I can communicate with them. So ask them, show me. I don't have to know everything. I ask them. But then if you learn things like, hey, they have problems with this, and this is the sign, and da-da-da-da, we often go, if they show me something, then it must mean that. And this is where I often go out of conclusion, like, is that really true? What if it was something totally different? So it's very interesting to have a lot of information and see what you do with that, if you project that, or you're willing to have a space and allow everything to be there. Information is great, and then it's very important not to make it significant and the right answer. And this is practice. I ask my animals to show me and show me and show me. And I also demand of myself to become so conscious that we really have no points of views here. But I also, sometimes when I don't get it, I apologize. So what if it didn't have an expectation how it should look like? And this is the things we're doing in class. We basically create this space of there's no points of views, no conclusions, no judgments, and then we start asking questions to the horses. And the horses in that space, because they're not projected how they should show up. And in that space, I see they show us a new world. So what I've seen with the participants is they get to see that there's a different possibility, a totally different possibility. And this is then practice. Are you willing to go out there in the world and practice with animals, your animals, other animals? Because if you know, what if you always were clear, but you didn't see that, you weren't aware that you were clear? Like, I'm sure there's tons of examples with your own horse that were super clear, that you just knew. Because it's just your normal thing. But it becomes super clear when you're talking about another horse or another person, because there's a different interaction. There's a daily life where you just know. But then there's also projections. There's so many people projecting, oh, my horse is hungry, my horse is this, my horse is that. I'm like, ask your horse instead of only projecting, because they have routines. Yes, they like their food, they like going out, they like things. But then it becomes, this is how they are. And this is where I like, hey, what if we distorted and created our points of views, how horses are, what they're supposed to do and not do, what they're supposed to like and not like. Because we're in training them to be in a certain way as well. There are tendencies, yes, absolutely. But then I can see every time I show up and do something with horses, I see the owner or the participant saying a certain thing about they're like this, or they do this, or they're hungry, or they want food now. I'm like, what if we were in the question? What if they are trying to tell us things by the things they know how to do? And I love when you start asking animals questions, they start becoming aware that there's a different possibility with you. It might not show up directly, but it will certainly show up if you continue, because they get aware that you're willing to be aware of them. And then when you acknowledge things and you thank them and say, hey, thank you so much, I really got that, blah, 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 whatever it is, they start realizing there's more space as well. Oh, sorry, people are texting me. I don't know if you hear that, but it's really fun to see. And I mean, I've been working with certain horses that I've known for 2 years. And then when I have the first class with them, they show up differently. I'm like, what happened here? Yeah, because there's a different space, there's a different possibility, and there's other people. So they want to contribute to these people. So the horses, for example, in Spain, where we're heading in June, they started laying down to the feet of the participants. 2 horses did that, one after another one, and wanted to contribute. And these are horses, they were free. They usually move around. They can also be a little bit rude, and they can sniff and taste you, whatever. And they were standing completely still. Everybody was scared that came to the horses, and we had to take a couple of steps getting closer to them. And the horses were standing very still. When we arrived, they moved a little bit, and then one came and laid down to the feet of the participant and was there during the whole session, and just the head down even to the floor. And I was like, that's unusual. I've never seen them do that ever, and I haven't seen that in other classes. And I was like, wow. When we were done, it raised, it's a longer story, but it went away. And then the second horse came up to the next participant and lay down at her feet. And this is a 3-year-old guy. Like, this is not one that is old, I'm going to lay down and take a nap. Not at all. And it even wanted to invite 2 people having sessions. And it was just laying there like, it even like started sleeping. I was like, this is hilarious. And it's so unusual, but they were willing to be a space of an invitation. And they knew they knew they were there for that. They were there working with the people. I'm like, that is such a gift. That's why I never know what will show up with horses and the people showing up in a class or in a session. But I know there will be something. And whatever every person brings in, like whatever question they bring in or desire in the class, that's going to start creating with the horses. Because animals usually really want to contribute, no matter what it is, to people, to change, to consciousness. I see that basically with every animal. It will show up very different, and I cannot have an expectation how it is going to look like. And if I ever have a point of view or a how or an expectation, I really have to change that, because that doesn't allow the horses or the participants to show up in every way possible, especially the horses, because they have less points of views. We have more points of views, how it could be if we want it to be in a certain way. But this is where I'm looking, hey, what if we really went a step further and looked like, what contribution can a horse be to your life? And not from, oh, yeah, it will be good if I can sit and ride on it, or yes, it can do that and that. Like, what if it's beyond that? What if a horse can really contribute to your life, not specific areas? So like basically every area of your life. And I like working with horses because they're so big and they bring up things and points of views with people, especially people that are not used to horses. And almost everybody I've met have a point of view or a conclusion about horses, what they can be and do for you. And I have seen horses contribute in ways where I'm like, it's beyond, they even understand social media sometimes better than we do. I'm like, how can a horse know about social media? It doesn't even comprehend in my mind. And how would they even know what to contribute exactly to your life? About awareness, about receiving yourself, about the tools of access. I mean, the tools of access consciousness, I love using them with horses because it becomes super clear when you ask questions, what shows up in the horse, when you're clearing something they're called entities, even if you don't know, energies that are stuck in their bodies. If you start clearing them, what happens with the horse and what is being created after that. Also in the classes, we do a lot of body work, so body processes, and they also work on the person, of course, that is doing it. And that's also been really interesting to see the horses shift, is even in form and shape after working with them. And I was like, okay, there's a different world that we can access, play with, and receive. And the horses are such a gift in that way, showing us a different possibility. Anybody can pitch in with any questions or comments, or some of you guys have been to classes as well. What's really cool, but I'm very grateful for it because it's been very brave people coming. So Silke, would that work for you to start like almost over, have no point of view that it doesn't work? So start, hey, what question can I ask today?
Yeah, I try now. Yeah, I began with a fast 2 months ago, so I'm trying now to make my first questions. Yeah,
good.
Perhaps. Yeah, I think I should be more aware of what's the answer, to be a bit more silent, to feel something, or to. Yeah, but normally if I'm in the stable, I'm not in a hurry, so I take my time, but I have too much routine things there. Yeah, so then probably I enjoy it also if nobody's there, so I can sit and only see him if he's on the grass and something like this. Yeah, I enjoy this. Because I think I should be more aware of what's coming back from these questions. Yeah,
that's smart. Like, that's really great, that comment, because when you ask, like I said, every question creates an energy. Like every question, also when there's like almost no energy, that's still something. And yes, because when you ask a question to something, there is something. But when we have any expectation of how it should come to you,
yeah,
might not receive those really soft whispers back. Like, you can be so soft.
Yeah. Also, if I might be blood control healing, yeah, and I changed the stable, and now they feed better, and I try to check what kind of flowers and something else he needs, yeah, like oil or something. But I have these questions, but then perhaps I go in the shop and I said, okay, where my hands first go, yeah, because I think I do not really allow me to be so sensitive to understand, yeah. If I ask the body of my horse, or I ask my horse, yeah, and so I'm trying.
Awesome. But you kind of like, you just have to go with it and not have any like, it's never going to be 100%. It's just like, oh, there's an energy, let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get the proof beforehand.
No. No. I'm open. So for this, I did my first bar course, yeah, and then a week later I got these new stables, and I never knew that there was a place for horses before. And so this is really, everything went very quick, yeah, and I think he arrived there and he felt good. So this is a good place now for him. So yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always ask my animals, if something isn't working for you, just let me know. Let me know in a very clear way if it's not working for you. And I trust that they know to do that. I know they have choice. Animals have choice. For me, 100% choice. Just looks different than my choices. And if I acknowledge they have choice, what space do I create with them? And what possibilities do I allow for them to have?
Yeah, if you say in every field, yeah. For example, I'm asking myself if I would like to continue to go to the work where I go. Yeah, all my life I changed things. Yeah, and then there came moments where I felt annoyed in the job. Yeah, and for me now it's more space. So I say, okay, let's look at access consciousness things in the work. If I'm there, so if they want that I work something, they have to ask me or say, okay, please do. So in the past I felt depressed or something like that. Yeah, and how can I ask my horse if I really would like to change something completely in my working life?
So for me, my animals are my co-creators.
Mm-hmm.
So my business is my life. My life is my business. Everything in my life is part of my creation. So of course my animals are part of my creation, and they're part of my life. Like they're part. Everything I choose or do, they're there. They're with me, and I have to also consider that they're in my life. I don't choose less because of. But I also, when something is changing or I would like a change and I feel a little bit stuck, I just start talking to them. Hey, Sinia, this is not really working. Can you contribute here? I need a little bit of help. I need a little bit of your magic. Can you help me? And I do that with my horse too. That is a little bit farther away. And in the beginning, I did not, because I didn't even get aware that I stopped myself because of a distance. And then I got aware, oh, I'm not talking to Katja as much as to Sinia. Oh, is that because of distance? I'm like, oh no, really? And then I just started talking to her, blah, 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 here in the kitchen. I was just walking around talking to her. Within 2 hours, I get a text message from the French guy working down there in Spain. And it was a photo of him with Katja making a like stupid face to me. And I was like, oh God, you're funny. Like I hadn't received that for ages from him, anything from her. And I was like, oh, you're just like really joke up in my face. Finally, I got it. It took a little while, but I got it. Thank you. So my horse created that so I would really get it. It was like slap in my face. So I know when I start asking them, involving them in my life, they have something to do and create with me. They have so many capacities that we're not even, we don't get it, we don't receive it, we don't even acknowledge it, because we think they're just animals. They like walking around and eating and not doing anything. No animal likes doing nothing. They love being engaged, and there are animals now connected to us. So we are part of their lives, and they love doing things with us. So when we ask them to contribute and be part of our lives, they start like, but not from you have to do that or pity me or, oh, please help me because I can't do it. No, it's for me, co-creator. We're on the same level. You just have other magic that I don't know about. You don't have the same points of views as I do. You definitely do not have the limitations about money and lack of things that I have. So I know that. My dog has showed us that several times, me and friends, how she doesn't have a point of view of money, but she can create anything she likes. And even that she's for free and hotels and everything. I'm like, she knows how to create, but I do have to ask her. I do involve her in everything, and we just talk as normal people. If it was your business partner, how would you talk to it? If it was your colleague, how would you talk to your horse? And you should ask them, hey, can you help me there? I'm stuck here. I would like to create more of this. Could you help me? It's more like you ask them to contribute, but you also know that they can contribute. Because I can't have a point of view. Yeah, but it's just a horse. Then you're stopping the magic. It just like can't go there. If you have that point of view, you have to kind of get it out there and throw it out away because it doesn't work. You're basically disempowering the possibilities. You're saying, yeah, I want your help, but I know you can't because you're just a horse. And this is for me, there's a totally different world with animals that we don't comprehend because we have a different point of view. My dog should lay, I don't even want to go to all the points of views we have about animals, but we have seldom asked them a question. We think we have to know what's right for our animals because then we're a good mama, papa of our animals instead of asking them. What do you want?
I think we did ask them when we were small. Yeah, when I had 6 or 7 years, I always asked the horse something.
Yeah. Yes, and you were constantly. I'm sure you were constantly talking to it too.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But that we just knew when we were kids. We saw no boundaries. They were involved. We might have learned something, but yes. We were asking them, we were talking to them, we were engaging. We didn't see the limitations as we do now. We didn't even, it was a different world for us.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, be more like the kid that you know you can be. Perfect. It's not a how, it's just doing things and then willing to allow everything to contribute to. I mean, my glass of water could contribute as much as my horse, but I'm sure I don't allow that. It's still a glass of water for me. Oops, bad Lisen. Because everything has molecules. Everything has awareness. But I also see when it's alive. I mean, I could allow everything to be alive. And I'm still going towards there. But it's so freaking easier with animals. Like they look at you like, yeah, let's do that. When they know I know, they're on. Even the bird, when I meet them, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Good. But then the animals that are in your life or around you, because you don't have to own them. You might just have connections with them or meet them up them once in a while. You can start talking to them. And this doesn't mean you have to talk loud, but you can start connecting to them and start asking for them. And hey, can you do this? Or can you help there? Or can you, what I do with Sinja, or what I've done many years, and this is my dog, I asked her, hey, can you show me a different world, a different possibility here? I'm not sure I get it. So I kind of am aware that there's a different possibility with whatever it could be, with my job or the living or my thoughts or in a relationship. And it's so funny because when I do, situations show up in my world. And this can be, she's just contributing energy to that. Or I'm getting more confident. It doesn't really matter how, I just see it works. And then she does open doors and she goes to people and we start chatting and that person has that information I was asking for. I'm like, oh my God, my dog's a connector. Oh my God, this is almost spooky. And then I just thank her, Sinja, thank you so much. Thank you for doing your job. I'm grateful beyond. And those are the things where I'm like, it's freaking amazing. It's freaking amazing. And I'm so grateful. And I love my magical life where everything's allowed to be part of it. Not, how did she do that? I have no idea. She just does. Dot. And I know all animals are magical and some like it more than others. I mean, they have personality as we do. Some are more this, some are more that. But they can all change and they can want to do different things. They haven't always been confronted with it. They haven't always experienced different possibilities. So how should they know? Oh, Mariella, you have a beautiful doggy. Oh my God, such a kitty. Oh, I told a friend of mine today, it was so funny, because I was resisting going to South America. There's something, that when you're going to go there, things are going to happen and change. You're like, and I grew up in South America. I grew up with horses in South America. So I was like, I have to just go there. And then I said to a person, like, yeah, if they invite me to do a horse test in South America, that's how they can, I will not be able to resist that. And it was a joke. But just within a month or two now, yesterday, 2 days ago, they invited me. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, now I will not be able to resist. And this is where I joke with myself about my limitations or whatever I'm choosing or not choosing. And then, what else can I create? What else would I be willing to invite to my life that can manipulate me to choose greater? And one of the areas is animals in my life. Animals, I've always had a connection with animals since I was a baby. Since I was under 1 year, I demanded a dog. And my mom has told me stories. I was intense. And at the end, I didn't get a real dog. So under the year of 1 year, I took every soft animal, I don't know what they call it in English now, that was a dog. I just grabbed it and I would not let it go. And at one time she had to make a deal and deliver with me in a shop because I was screaming for not letting go of this dog. He said, okay, you're going to get this for Christmas. I don't know, under 1 year. How did you make a deal with 1 year? I'm like, how did you do that? But she said, you're going to get this for Christmas, and I think it was Christmas and birthday because it was a little more expensive. She didn't have so much money at the time. And I said, yes. And it was great. And I had this dog for 10 years. A fluffy little doggy thing. It's not a real dog. But I remember Boo Boo, it was called. My brother got to name it. I'm like, I don't know what it is. But these are things, for me, dogs were a must in my life. If they were real or not, it seemed to be okay. And then I borrowed as many dogs as I could because I wasn't allowed to have one in Argentina when I grew up there. And then I didn't care. We're like, no matter what, I will have a dog in my life. And they said, well, you can have a dog when you move out. And I got so pissed at one time when I was 16. If I'm not getting a dog within 2 weeks, I'm going to get a rat. and I was an annoying teenager, I think. So I didn't get a dog, so we had a rat. And this is the funny part. They agreed on having a rat. I don't know why my parents said yes to that, but there was simply no yes or no possible. It was, this is what Lisen's doing, dot. So I got a rat. I must have been under 16. This rat came to Sweden with us on vacation, illegally to Sweden, I might say now. And it was so funny because I had this rat and it was a pet. I took it to school. It was sitting around my neck. It was with me everywhere until it was forbidden to have rats in school. Too many people start having rats. But this is the thing, when you demand things in your life that you want to have and you allow them to contribute to you, things can change in a different way. Because one of the things I see also when you ask for that and demand that of you, you also start by often lowering your barriers and start receiving. So if there's any area in your life you're willing to have more of, add more of that or ask for more of that. Animals don't have any judgments and points of views about you. So a lot of people have easier receiving from an animal because we know there's no hidden agendas. They're not going to try to hurt you, and they're not out for hurting you or biting you or eating you up. Not most pets, at least. And you can be aware if they are. But they're mostly there for you. And we sense that. That's often also the amazing space when I facilitate classes. I have so many great facilitators with me because they all just want to be there and they don't have a point of view. They're like, what can I do now? What can I have here? What can I do? They're just there. And I love it because then I also see, oh, this could be a possibility to create on the planet that we don't have judgments and points of views and we can all be there for everybody. And still take care of ourselves and include ourselves. We don't exclude ourselves. And I was like, and this, again, back to horses, for example, also to dogs, if you're not willing to be a leader, so if you're not part of your life, if you're not including you, if you're not present, they don't listen as much, they don't engage as much with you. And this is one thing where I work also a little bit more with leadership things. I've done leadership trainings without horses. I've done them with dogs, and I'm also going to do with horses. And I was like, this is fun to see that, because and basically every class for me is a leadership training for your life. Because when you're present with you in your life, you'll see how animals, horses, show up with you. With you. Dogs are the same, but you can avoid the dog easier than the horse. And this is the fun part I like. I mean, Sinia has been with trainings with me, with leadership trainings. Hilarious to have her on, because she won't listen to you if you're not present. She doesn't really care about you. Like you're not, like, it's funny. But if you're present with the energy, she's like, who's you? Who are you? What can we do? What are we doing? And it's hilarious. And if you're in a class and you check out, she sometimes can go and just like hit you a little bit on the leg because you're not there anymore. She wants everybody to be here. And this is something we have been co-creating for years together. So she knows she's allowed to do that. And I almost ask her to do that. She can come up to me when I'm like, and like, and I was like, oh, thank you. I wasn't here. She's become my personal secretary last couple of months. If I forget something, or I'm working on something and you get distracted and you should be delivering something, she comes up to me literally and looks at me or says something until I get what I'm missing. When I get it, then she goes off. And I was like, oh, thank you. I almost missed the deadline or something. I was like, this cannot be real. And I was like, this is amazing. She keeps on doing it. She did it yesterday again. I'm like, oh, thank you. I got distracted. And I was like, wow, how can a dog know what you're doing, what you're missing out on, and what you should be doing? I was like, I don't doubt it anymore. She does it constantly with me, but I would never expect it. I've never asked her to do that. So how can animals show up for and with us when we don't have a point of view, what it means for them to be a dog or for them to be a horse? And what would happen if you start asking for more with them? So what haven't we not considered with animals or with horses that could be a possibility? What have you guys experienced? What are your thoughts? I know, Fritje, you were in one of the classes and something's changed for you with the horses. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, I had to unmute. I'm walking the dogs at the moment. Yeah, because one of them was like, yeah, whatever you have to do, we are going on a walk.
Perfect.
Yes, so we did. What I experienced of the class, that it is not only the fear of horses, it's actually fear of a lot of other things. So even up till today, I still, there are things coming up and that I think I do it differently than I would have done before the class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that is going on and going on and going on. And yeah, and I heard Simone Millicis saying that with a trust exercise, she got off the horse very quickly because she didn't trust her body. And today I was thinking about that and I thought, that is so true. That is so true, that with a lot of things you don't trust yourself, or it's not about only the trust of the horse, but it's also the trust of yourself. How will you react? And then you go thinking like, oh, but if I do this or if I do that, and maybe this happens and maybe that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you don't trust yourself, I think. Well, in a lot of, and that is changing as well because of the course, because of being with those animals who just standing there like, well, I'm here and whatever you do, I'm here and I'm me. And, they're not pretending or whatever. I saw photos afterwards
Yeah.
of the processes we did. And I thought, I didn't see that face like that because I was so busy with other stuff. And now afterwards, I could see that face of the horse. And I was like, oh, he was much more at ease or much more enjoying than I thought he or she was. It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm coming back. and also the difference between going to this class or going to like a foundation or whatever, it's a bigger class. You can walk away. And with this, because the second day I was like, well, we've done a lot yesterday, so why would we, we can have coffee first or, do something else. And it was like, no, because the class is starting at 10 and you have to be there. So you can't walk away. So that is also, so there is really things changing, because if it gets awkward for you, you can't walk away for it, which in a big classroom you can, oh, I suddenly have to pee or whatever. You can walk, and with this it can't. So it's those 3-4 days have such a huge impact.
But it's almost like, the horses are asking you to be present. So you can't just like, yes, I'm going to go off. Like, no, come here.
Yeah, you come here. And like, you were scared that I moved, so I don't move.
Yeah.
Because we had to move. And it was like, it didn't move. And it was like, you have to say it can move, because it doesn't move. It hardly take a breath. And I was still like, oh, what's going to happen? But yes, that gave so much. And I still laughing at that. Like, you have to say it has to move. I never expected that. Yeah, that it would be so contributing.
Yeah, no, it was such a gift. Like, I saw that, I was like, well, it's absolutely doing everything you want.
Yes,
it was just waiting for you to tell it. Otherwise, I'm going to still stand here.
Yeah.
It knew what was required. And it was so freaking cool. I'm like, okay, no, this horse is waiting for you to say something. Okay, I'm off here. Those relationships we can't really predict or even know, but I've seen this so many times now. So I'm like, okay, it is a really other way of being with them, where you also really have to be willing to lead. And you were willing to lead and say, hey, this works, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's funny when the horse like, really, nope, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was, yeah. So it is, an absolute brilliant experience. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen the change with my dogs, because I was like, why are they all of a sudden all over me? And I have rescues, and the rescues are, they are very friendly, but they can stay a little bit reserved.
Yeah.
And they are more and more into like, oh yeah, thank you very much. And one of them came back with, because, well, this is my backyard, sort of, so they can walk wherever they want, and they came back, and one came back, and she needed stitches, so we went to the vet, and she could be helped right away because she didn't have food, and it looked like she was very much into gratitude afterwards, like, oh, that you do that for me. And then I realized, no, she came closer after I came back from Conscious Horse, because somehow I talk different to my dogs now.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't realize that, but I do talk different to my dogs. So they obviously react differently. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's only one day she has a very sore paw, and I have to find out what it is, and I still can't. So I have to do my work, my homework, because
Ask it to show it in a different way.
I can do that. Yeah.
The information can come somewhere else from, or in a different way to you.
Okay. Okay, that's maybe an idea. Okay, I will do that. I will do that. Okay, thank you. Well, that was my experience from the conscious horse. Beside, obviously, the absolute fantastic place in Tambur Liano, absolutely magical as well.
I love
as
that.
well.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm happy to come for the Mega Creation Day, because then at least I can see the horses, and I can feel the place again, and see what happens on the Mega Creation Day. But
That's
yeah,
really fun.
thank you. Yes. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Every place has those things. It has something of its own magic, and those are places I also try. Like, I'm asking to show up, because I know every place creates something. So Tambur is part of like my life, my heart. But the place in Austria with the 17 horses, I'm like, they are pulling me a lot. I can't stop thinking about them. I'm like, oh, these horses are going to do something very different with us. And the horses often request you or us or something. And I've seen how the horses know. They know. And when they're ready for something, they start pulling in other people or different people. And when you allow that, it's a lot of fun. For me, it's a lot of fun. So I'm like, where else can we create magic? But I will keep on doing things in Spain, because I love the place too.
Yep. Okay. Well, maybe Austria. Maybe Austria. Yeah. But it is magical. It is really, really magical. Yeah. So yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
So
for
happy.
Creating this.
Yay! I'm so happy. It's so funny, because this is one of the classes where I see the Access Consciousness tools in action, where I see also everybody. We can't deny it works. Like, we do things with them, and they show up and they show you things. I remember when we did the entity clearings, and we had people that had never done it. It was very new, and then the horse makes them. When we're done, it makes the weirdest yoga movements and stretching and getting things out of the body. I'm like, yes, we did change something here. And we were just asking questions. He was standing there. And the first time he was trying to hit me with his paws so we get going. And I was like, I need to explain something. You stop it. It did exactly the same as my dog when it doesn't want to wait. And I'm like, my dog's paw is it's a little nicer on my body than the hoof of a fucking horse. Don't do that. It was like, I have waited, because it had waited. It was so funny, because it had waited from the morning or the day before. So you remember when we came into the stable, we're like, we're doing entities? Oh, that horse. And then when we were going to bring it out, it was designated to go on a riding tour. And it was so funny, because it passed by us. When it passed our group, it stopped, and Nana was like, what is happening? I'm like, oh yeah, this horse wants its session. He's like, no, it's going out riding. And we're like, okay, horsey, you're going to get your session. And then on that day, we forgot it. But the next day, he was standing there in front in the stable. They had left him there. And I was like, oh, of course you left this horse there. And it was the one that wanted the session. So it got the session the next day. It was hilarious. And it couldn't wait. Like, no, I'm waiting. I have been waiting too long. And I'm like, oh. So horses know. They know. They know exactly what they want. And when they start receiving a bit of it, they'll ask for more.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the same as when I went to Austria to a friend's place. I don't know, Andrea's here. But her stallion basically went up and just put its face on me all the time. And it wanted so much body work. I'm like, okay, it wouldn't stop. And then it stopped, and it came again. And it's so much body work because it just knows. Animals know what you know. And if they can, I'm going to mute you for a gem, just for wind.
Sorry, yeah.
Muted now. They know, animals know what you know. So they can sometimes ask and request things of you because they're aware, I can get it there. When I don't know what an animal wants from me, like, hey, what do you desire? What do you want? What can I help you with? And then sometimes I just start with something. And when I start doing, like, say, body work on it, that you learn also as a conscious writer class, something shows up. And then from there, I can take it onwards and ask more questions. Maybe something else shows up, but I just start somewhere. Because it's not about figuring out what's the right thing to do. For me, it's more like, hey, you start with one thing. From that, there was more information. Every choice I make creates more awareness, creates more information. So then I move to the next, whatever, it will show me. And then I ask, hey, make it clear, whatever you desire. And then I start. But I don't have to figure everything out. And this is the way also to get out of your mind. Because we are very often in our minds trying to think. And if you think too much with a horse, the horse again won't create as much as it can with you. When you're super present, you'll see what shows up with the horse. They become super present too. It matches, like it will match more and more and more if you're willing to be present. And sometimes we don't even know that we're not present because we think we're present. And like, for example, if you do routine work in a stable or at home or whatever, we often have the tendency to check out a little bit because we're just on a routine. So we do it. And sometimes you really need to do your routines in a different way. So not checking out and just to start doing something different. And it's really interesting if you're willing to be totally present and start. I always think when I do something routine, I start asking more questions to use that time to create. So when I'm with animals or in a stable, I start talking to them. Like, it's so funny, especially in the stable in Spain. There's one that has they're very intense. And they're often new horses. So I introduce myself and I usually talk Swedish with them and I mix it with Spanish. And the guys working there, they always look at me and they just know I'm different. And I've always been it. And they kind of like are totally okay. And I'm a client because I have my horse there now. So they have to just like, they accept me, but they see I do things with the horses and the horses change. So they like that. But in the beginning, they were just looking at me and being polite. That was really funny. And then at the end, when they saw me working with one horse that became much more easier to work with. And I was standing in front of it. It was Raul's horse. And I was standing in front of the horse and talking to it. And it came really close to me and I could even touch it because it was a little bit shying back before. And Raul came up, hey, what's it saying to you? I'm like, what? And I was like, what? And I was like, da, 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 da. And then he tried to defend himself. And I was like, girl, I'm just giving you information. It's not that you did anything wrong. But I was so freaking surprised. He just comes up to me. What's he saying? And I was like, when you're being what you are in a natural way and you're open with it, and you're not trying to hide it, things start showing up in a different way. You don't have to prove it to anybody. It's more just like, you're being that way. I'm different. I talk to animals. I do it loud. And then I said to Rolima, I need to talk Swedish with them. They need to get used to it. All my animals know Swedish. And I joke about that. And my dog understands Swedish, German, English, now Spanish too. Not so much French. But I'm sure we can get that also. And I talk normal Swedish with her, not commandos. I don't do commando with my dog. And I noticed today when I was walking with her 1.5, 2 hours, we were out with other dogs too. And I can just say things to her. And then she's like, oh, and I say, hey, we're going on the other side. And they're like, oh, she went on the other side. And the other dog was like, what is happening here? What kind of communication would you like to create with your animal? Because there are certain ways we're doing communication from this, like what people learn and how you're supposed to do it. And how would it be fun for you? Are you willing to explore how communication could be fun for you? And not, oh, I need to send messages, or I need to send pictures, I need to do that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of obvious, I'm doing that. I don't need, when I learned, I did do some classes with animal training, a lot, like animal communication a long time ago, but it was so much like, this is the way you have to do it. And then I was like, oh, and then I tried that, and it wasn't even so much fun. It was just more like, you have to do it in a certain way. And I let it go. And then I just like, and I was just wondering, how would it work? How can I be? And then again, I also got some pictures from when I was a kid, because I just went up to dogs. I just talked to them. I just cuddled with them. I just did anything. And it was dogs that you're not supposed to be able to be close with. But I did it so quickly that people forgot to get afraid that I was there. And the dogs wouldn't hardly ever do anything to me. To my brother, yes. To me, no. And that was not my world. But I didn't get it. It was just so natural to me to have that. And I was like, okay, what have I created differently that is not the way I could be? What could I be? What communication, what creation, what possibilities are there with animals that I haven't considered yet? What questions could I be asking? Am I willing to destroy and uncreate all my points of views? Am I willing to destroy all my points of views that I cannot talk to animals? What are anything that pops up? I'm trying, it's hard, it's not easy, whatever. I destroy and uncreate that, and then I'm like, oh, what if it could be totally different? And what contribution can a horse be to my life? I still ask that very often, almost every day, because it feels to me, I'm like, I got this awareness, and there's tons of possibilities I have not even considered, fathom, know, dream about. And every person has their different experiences with horses, and their different ideals, or how it should be like. And I'm okay with all of them. I just want to explore something different. And just see what else is possible if I don't have a point of view how it should look like, or what's the best life for a horse. So funny, many people have this idea either that they work with horses, or they should just be on a grass and do nothing. You know, like, really? Have you asked the horse if it really wants to do that? What, does it want to do something else? And it's, for me, it's like, okay, what is truly possible if I had no projections, I had no conclusions how it should look like? Could I ask a question? What if I ask a question? I still can have a lot of information and everything like that, but what if I also included? So for example, I know that my dog finds its own dog sitters. Like, she always finds them. I need to voice it when I need one. I put it on Facebook, I talk to people, but I always know, hey, Sinja, find whatever person or people you want to be with that will be super fun for you to be with, more fun than with me when I'm gone, when I'm not here. So, and also, like, include things in your life that are fun for you, because I cannot provide everything for her. It doesn't work. I don't have everything for her. So I've always asked her to find things that she wants to experience, want to have in her life, because I don't have a family. I don't have a farm. I don't have 10 other dogs. I don't know. She's been in so many different fun situations with people and experienced a lot of things where I see she's really happy. And I've never had the point of view that I'm the best person for her. We have a great relationship. And I told her, if you don't want to be with me anymore, you have to let me know. It's fine. I won't be happy, but it's fine. We'll be together as long as we want to be together. And if something else works better for you, because I travel a lot, I'm not home all the time, something works better for you, let me know. So for 11 years now, has worked really well, and we've found really amazing people. But she also usually chooses people that are a little bit more aware. And if they're not, or they start choosing something different, she shows me that, and then I cannot have them anymore, kind of thing. Or they change, or they go away. It's often very natural how it changes. It's just once in a while where she's like, nope, not anymore. And I was like, oh boy, time for something else. But I've always known she'll find people. And she has, in the most magical ways. And it's really fun to see. But this is where I know animals can contribute and create with you. But you do have to tell them. As one time I was like, Senior, because she often, oh God, she stretches my awareness and my allowance. She was always finding dog sitters 1, 2, 3 days before I'm flying away. So I could be flying away for 2 weeks. And I was like, I have no dog sitter. And then after that, I was like, Senior, no, this doesn't work for me. We have to find one. But like 5, 6 days. And I remember telling her on Sunday, I was flying Thursday. On Sunday, I want to know where you're going to be. On Saturday, the person starts talking to me and finds me. And we had sorted everything out by Sunday. And I said, thank you, Senior. This works better for me. But I hadn't told her that before. I'd only told her I want a dog sitter. So for her, it didn't matter if it comes the day before. It's a dog sitter. But I had to look at, in her world, there's no problem with time. I'm with you anyway until you leave. And I was like, oh God. Okay, so yeah, I have to tell you what works. So this, and for me, for example, in our relationship with Sinja, time, dates work perfect. I can tell her a time and she knows. I can tell her a day and she knows. And the days I say, hey, we're going out in 1 hour and I have more work to do, oh boy, she'll be there sharp at that time. We're going out now? And I was like, give me 10 more minutes, please. And then it's fine. But I have to also, whatever I agree with her, I respect that agreement and I commit to it. And if I can't, I do apologize. But she's really good on time and date. So I know I have to be aware of what I say and be present with that. So this is where you get to also know what are the things that work with your animal and where can you acknowledge them even more. She's really amazing with time and date. Again, okay, she doesn't have a clock. We don't know. There's no clocks in my apartment. How does she have the concept of time and dates? I was like, this is awesome. But I acknowledge that she does. I don't try to figure out why or how. I just know. Now we know a lot. I mean, one of the most obvious, funniest things ever was I was facilitating an evening class here in Helsingborg. It was a lot of people there. I don't remember, 20, 30 people in a room. And I had people online and the internet was having a hiccup. So we had to work with that. So we started the class a little bit later. And Sinja was with me. So I had her little bed there. And I told her the time the class will end. I don't know why I did that. I said, hey, Sinja, we're going to have class until blah, blah, blah. And I didn't even remember that I had said it. So when, let's say it was 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, she goes from her bed. This is funny. I have all the people. I'm standing there. She goes from her bed, sits in front of me, sits down, looks at me. Huh? And I was like, what's on? What's going on? Because everybody saw her doing this. I'm like, what's time? And what's happening? Or what do you want? And I only got time in my head. I was like, oh, yeah, and then look at the clock and I see the time. I'm like, oh, this is officially when we're supposed to end. And then, Sinja, we got a little delayed, so we're going to go for another half an hour. It's okay? You can go sleep again. So she goes off again to her bed and sleeps half an hour. Sharp half an hour, she comes up and sits again like, now? And I was like, oh my God. And I laughed and everybody laughed in the room. Everybody understood it. It was super clear. I told half an hour. It was half an hour. I was like, hey guys, I think we're ending for today. And it was, but I was like, how? How is that possible? And at that moment, the how goes away and I thank her. Thank you so much. We're going to go up here, but I'll send you out with somebody else because we still have to pack some things. But this is you can create whatever relationship you want with animals. And I learned a lot from my dog, having her with me a lot and classes and everything. And now opening up the whole world for me with horses has become even more clear how potent they are, how willing they are to contribute to your life. And when you're willing to be present, leading your life, not excluding yourself, not projecting, not judging, you'll see that what that creates together, no matter if it's your horse or not. So this is one of the gifts I see with horses. It's so amazing because they're so clear and they have a space of awareness. They have a lot of energy. And it's, for me, this is space. So when you're willing to be that space with them, you're going to see what shows up in your life, because they also like train you to have a different, you can call it zone of awareness. And the presence with that is exactly, if you have that in your life, like Fritja said, things are showing up different now, and she's getting more aware of her things in her life, because that is something, that's one of the gifts I see horses giving people, is a presence when you see it and when you're out of your head, that you can, well, when you're being it, you get aware of a lot of things. And when you're being that in your life, it's so much easier to create your life and to choose your life than avoiding things and not being present. I remember one of the guys, he said it's super uncomfortable with horses, and he loves it. And he said it was uncomfortable because the horse looked directly into him, he would see himself while the horse was seeing him. And so he couldn't avoid himself. He couldn't deny who he was being or what judgments he had. And then he started letting them go too. But that presence was a gift for him. So the stories that come from those experiences are pretty amazing for me, because it's exactly what I love facilitating in every class. But I see where the horses gift a different perspective, or contribute to a different perspective, becoming so clear. And I've had people that are so in your head, thinking, and the horse just goes up into their face when they're doing an exercise, and the exercise won't work, but there's no result in mind. There's always just awareness. So we take result out of the computation and look, hey, what awareness can we receive here? So it was really funny when she got, because the horse kept just being in her face. And when I did the exercise, there was something else happening. And she's like, I might be doing something different. And when we got her out of being wrong, or that she was making herself wrong, she was like, Then she started asking questions, and then the horse would work with her. And I was like, wow, that's freaking amazing how the horse will contribute to you whatever you require for the change you are asking for. But it will be in different situations. It will be in different moments. And in that moment, there's a gift that we can receive. And I see that basically all the time in life, every day. But with some exercises, for example, with animals, there's less points of views, or less buzzing from everybody else, that for me personally, I see it becomes clearer, and then I bring it along in my life. And I just love it. So that's one of the things I'm super grateful about horses in general. Huge animals with huge awareness and willing to contribute. And we often put them in a box of they are this, they are that, or they stand in a stable, they don't get a job, and they just want to help. So I use them. I go to a stable and ask all of them for contribution, and what can we create? Can we do this? Da, 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 da. So I don't mind if they're my horses or not, because I also know there's no exclusion. It's not, only my horse will contribute to me, or only my horse will contribute. No, all of these horses can do everything for everybody. That's why it's amazing to be around them and just talk to them. And when you talk a couple of times with them or do something with them, it's really fun to see what contribution they can be to your world. But it's a different world. It's a different world if you're willing to receive it, because it means also, for me personally, what I'm seeing with myself, receiving more, is that my barriers towards everybody is less there, because I'm more aware of what's possible. And then I don't have to have a point of view what's right or wrong. I can have choice, and I don't have to have any points of views towards people either, but that's my choice. It's easier for animals because they don't judge you, but what if it was as easy with people as it is with animals? Because they're showing it, you, us, all of us, it is possible, but we often don't choose it. And I was like, what are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to contribute to us? What if we were willing to be aware and receive it? And that's when I'm like, okay, let's ask more questions, and it's up to us. So if we lowered our barriers now to all the horses in the world and allowed them to contribute to us, what would happen? What would show up? And we just do it. Okay. And then we just connect with all the horses. There's a lot of horses when they do this. And I was like, wow, what questions can I ask? What contribution would you like to have? Is there anything in your life you'd like now? If we ask now, if you're willing to lower your barriers now, and you almost like pull energy from every horse in the world that would like to contribute to you, and then like have a couple of wishes. What do you wish? What do you desire? Do you want this? What do you desire? What if you don't think that they can or cannot do it? So you just ask. And then just start playing with things like that and see what shows up. What magic and what possibilities have we denied that we could allow and we can really invite into our lives? And there's quite a few facilitators of conscious horse country right around the world. So even if you're not around here or where I'm having classes, find yourself a facilitator or a class where I feel like, yeah, I want to go there and try it out, have fun, experience it. And every class will be different. I've had people coming through several classes. Every class is different. People are different, other horses, and the horses show up in a different way. Sometimes it's just fun to do a couple of them, and you don't have to, but and see if there is a class in your, next to you or close to you that you wanted to maybe experience. And there's some are one-day classes. There could be an evening, like an intro, a couple of hours. There can be a couple of days classes. Some of my classes I include also riding, that you can ride or experience riding if you've never done it, especially in Spain. So we add a little bit extra time for that. So there's tons of possibilities, and I just wish that everybody gets to experience one of these amazing classes. It's mind-blowing. And what I'm hearing around the world too, it's like, wow, this is really, really cool. So I like, hey, I want conscious horse, conscious rider to be everywhere. That's one of my desires, because we're a couple of facilitators doing it. So what would it take for that to spread out and have a different awareness about animals? Yeah, that I really truly desire, because there's too many projections and points of views about animals and what they can be and what they can do and what's possible with them. And I invited a dog that definitely screwed with all my points of views. And if I ever had a point of view about her, she would make it so clear that that's not okay. Oh my God. And no projections. If I ever projected anything would be good for her, she wouldn't even eat the food. She'd just look at me and go away. I'm like, oh no, gosh, it's really funny. So I took it with humor and started asking more questions and asked like, hey, what would you desire? What food would you like to have? And different things showed up, and definitely not a cheap dog. And then I was like, well, why would I deny her having whatever she desires? And then, okay, I have to make more money. Xenia, we need to make more money. Then I talked to her, hey, if we want to have all of this, we have to make a little bit more money. And then we start creating more money. And then I was like, oh, I want to be outdoors more with you. I think we have to move to Spain or go somewhere else. Hey, we have to create a little bit more. And then we just start creating. And it's so fun having that like communication with her, telling her what I require and what she also requires. And then I also look, hey, I'm willing to give the best to my dog. Am I willing to give the best to myself too and include myself? So I often also look at that. And she will never settle with okay. If she knows there's something better to eat that she desires, she will not eat until I get that. If it's in my house or we're at a restaurant, that's the worst case, because there's a lot in that kitchen. But she's usually managed that the restaurant gives her whatever she wants. So she has a talent and a gift to manipulate what she would like. And she makes sure that she has really great restaurants around her too. And I love food too, so it works really well. But it's really funny to see how she manages that every time. Incredible. But then again, there's this allowance that she can create. It doesn't always have to come from me. Mika, for me, it's changing understanding now. I take it true talking is now not easy, but understanding. That's awesome. Yeah, Mika came to the last class of Conscious or Conscious Writer, and it was in English. She heard German, like, but she kept on getting it because it bypassed the mind. But again, we do have a call on Thursday that will be in German, so we'll have a different conversation there. But it's really cool how the brain can also change. Let's make English very easy. I know Annette is coming to the next Conscious Source Country Writer, and she doesn't speak so much English, and that's going to be fun. But we have a lot of helpers. We have a lot of German-speaking people there, so that's going to be good. But we also have French, and we also have Danish, and we have English, and we have Spanish, Turkish. We have a mixture of a lot of languages coming to the next class. What I love. We're just going to see how my brain does with that, because often my brain connects with all the languages and I get a little bit, I don't know. But that's included. But there's a lot of language, a lot of different countries coming to the class, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the one in Austria is in German, can be translated into English as well. So we'll see what that creates. And in Brazil, I have no idea. And then we're also going for Hungary soon. So Hungarians will have fun too. But if you have any questions or you want to connect or you have anything else showing up with your horse, I also do sessions with people and their horses or the animals. I had a session this morning. It was yesterday with a person getting a cat. That was also really fun. She had mostly had, she had cats and dogs. And I do them also online, so I don't have to be present with your animal or in the same room. I can also do it in distance. We usually do in Zoom, and then we see each other. So that works really well. But it's a good, fun new world creating with animals in a more active way, where I'm so happy. So I'm so grateful to have this conversation with all of you guys today. And yeah, if there's anything or you wonder about anything, you're always welcome to connect with me. And if you want to join the call on Thursday in German, da seid ihr auch alle willkommen. Da freue ich mich auch drauf. So thank you so much for today, and hope to meet you all at some point and have a lot of fun with your animals and ask them to show you what's truly possible. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisen.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.